and welcome to another level 3 video on paper chemicals. In this short video I'm just going to introduce the general types of paper chemicals that there are, and then in subsequent videos we'll look at the chemicals in more detail. So paper chemicals really fall into three categories. There are cleaning chemicals. These are things that we tend to use when we are not making paper, so during shutdown and clean outs. So I'll mention these things, but I won't be making any more videos about them. Then there are process aids. A process aid is there to help the process. And there are functional aids. Functional aids change the nature of the paper to make it meet customer requirements. So cleaning chemicals, typical cleaning chemicals, we might have acids, we might have alkalis or bases like caustic soda for example, or we might have solvents, something like a paraffin, and those we might use to clean foaming fabrics and felts, rolls, just to keep all our machine nice and clean during a shutdown. Process aids, as I mentioned, they are there to help the process. They make the process cheaper for the mill, and they make it easier for the people who are operating the machine. So cheaper to operate. So process aids, for example, will prevent perhaps breaks, they'll prevent faults in the paper, they may help to retain chemicals and fibre in the sheet so it doesn't go down to the effluent plant, and easier for the operator. If you're not getting breaks, then you're not running around collecting all the broke and having to put it back in the system. You're not having to feed the machine up again. So chemicals that will prevent breaks will be good for the operator. So examples of process aids: biocides. We let too many bugs grow, we'll get slime and slime spots. Slime in the sheet could cause you to have a sheet break. Defoamers, if you've got too much air in the stock, then you can get pinholes in the sheet, or you could get foam spots. Drainage aids to help the sheet drain quicker on the wire. That means you can run a faster sheet, you can reduce your overhead costs. Retention aids. Retention aids are there to retain more fibre and or filler in the sheet, so therefore less is going to the effluent plant, so you have a higher yield of raw material, which is reducing the costs. And you might use formation aids. Functional aids. Functional aids are there to change the nature of the sheet to meet a customer requirement. It's in the customer specification. So they change the paper to meet customer requirements. And examples will be a dye, for example. If a customer wants a red piece of paper, you'll put a red dye in, so that is a functional aid. If a customer wants a water repellent piece of paper, you'll put a sizing agent in to give it water repellency. If he wants dry strength for a printing run, you'll put something in like a cationic starch to give you dry strength. If he wants wet strength for something like kitchen roll or hand towel, then you would put a wet strength agent in. Those are all modifying the nature of the paper to meet a customer requirement, and therefore they are functional aids. Some chemicals, of course, do both. You normally put them in as a functional aid, but because of the nature of the molecule, they will also act to do other things. They will also act as a process aid. For example, Kymene, PAAE, provides wet strength. That's one of the most modern chemicals for producing wet strength. Cationic starch, very old traditional chemical now, we put that in to produce dry strength. Both of them are cationic. Both of them have strong positive charges, and therefore the side effect is they will act as retention aids. Because fibres are negatively charged, they will draw the fibre in and improve fibre retention. So a quick 3-point summary of chemicals in the paper industry. We have process aids which aid the process. We have functional aids which will change the nature of the paper to meet customer requirements, and some process aids will also double up as functional aids, or some functional aids will also double up as process aids. There are other chemicals that do that as well, and we'll discuss that in other videos. Thank you for listening to this video, and I hope you will follow us on any of this social media.